Hey there, welcome back to Arms Trade Tycoon Tanks. Right now we have a pretty decent lineup. We have the T-34, we have the Churchill dual gun carrier, we have the Heavy Matilda, and for those of you who want to throw aircraft, or, well, tanks out of an aircraft, you can do that with the PzKpfw. There is something that we don't really yet have. The multi-purpose tank. The multi-purpose tank is something that some nations do seek. Here, Sweden's going to buy a lot of them. I do have some versions that might kind of fit, but it's not the T-34, it is not the Churchill, kind of. This is not really that profitable. The Heavy Matilda is not worth it, and the Tetrarch doesn't line up protection-wise. So we need to do something else. We need to get exactly the type of tank they desire. What's the competitor offering? The Lynx. So what am I going to do? Get the Lynx. Ideally, do this through a trophy tank, because it's the cheapest way to go. But seeing as that's not really an option, I'm just going to have to buy one. So we're going to go over to Rheinmetall, and I'm going to say, hey dude, I'm going to buy your Lynx Ausführung B for 6 million. That is a chunk out of my budget, but I'm considering it an investment. Because I might be able to then turn that into something else. Turn that into more money. Let's see. I think we might need to... Do we need to reverse engineer that? Or no? Because sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. It's not a trophy, so I don't think we need to reverse engineer it. We might just need to develop it. Here you are. Hello, gorgeous. We're going to do all sorts of unspeakable things to your design. Okay, so I do need to engineer this, design this for 53 days, 57 days with 53 engineers. If you're going to use it in a normal design. I think it's an interesting option, but of course we have plenty of other options. Right now it has an attribute sum, sorry, that's just the hull. How many man hours? 28,000? Jesus Christ, and I thought my tanks were over-engineered. 28,000 man hours? That's ridiculous. That's 40% more than the T-34. Why? What? No. No. What is so expensive about this tank? Why is it so incredibly difficult to produce? The standard design. Most of it goes into the engine. Yeah, leave it to the Germans to over-engineer an engine. I wonder if I could tune that down some. Give them a different engine. And still have a pretty decent tank. Because if I can throw a different engine in there, maybe we can make it work. Okay, so what type of tank is this? According to Sweden, that is the multi-purpose tank. I think it's that one, although it doesn't really matter which one you pick. This is what they seek. This tank has a maximum rating of 28 tons. I have a tank of 25 tons with this. It is not going to be delivering as much on firepower hard, but that is without crew, without expendables, etc. So if I just throw in the regular contenders, a commander, what do we need? Oh, we need only half a driver. Driver gunner, loader mechanic can work, but that's not really going to do wonders for my firepower stats. Damage is not quite there. Accuracy is definitely not there because we don't really have a designated gunner. If I do have a designated gunner, I imagine it's going to go up. Yeah, it's okay. But that gun isn't what it can be. We can make that better. They want a bit more damage. Well, that's not a problem. We got plenty of damaging shells. I think the fragmentation shells are going to seek, or are going to provide you with the damage you seek. The accuracy is a bit of a problem, and kinetic needs more work. So APBC shells, that is definitely the kinetic pen that they want. For the crews, we definitely need more. Crew comm internal is not as good. Crew awareness, crew safety. Transportability is not as good. Operational range is not as good. Operational range should be fixed by just giving a diesel. And then maybe reliability is going to get increased by this, but they don't really care for that. Okay. That's with that high-end, very expensive engine. If I give them something else that isn't as heavy. This thing has a pretty decent power-to-weight ratio, though. This is... attribute sum of 453. I can go 474. It's maximum 26 tons. So that would work, right? Because my tank is still heavy enough. This does save me about 1,000 man-hours. This HL120 is extremely modern and extremely expensive to build. What other options do we have? I think this might be a little heavy. No, actually it's lighter. It's lighter. And it still would work. It would make the tank lighter, so with a mass going down, maybe I can get away with getting a nice bonus for weight. What about the other parts? Can I throw T-34s on this? I told you we're going to do unspeakable things to this tank. So it begins. Okay. The cross-country speed is pretty bad, though. It's pretty bad. If I give them the other tracks, the cross-country speed is better, but not what they want. And with the standard Erklings that they're getting, it's only 43. Okay. Operational range, not great. These are the only tracks I can use. Yeah, the cross countries, or these tracks are just not going to work for this. I'm going to make a copy of the Erkling and see if I can change them to be more in line with what they want. Because I want to make this thing do pretty damn good on the export market. Multi-purpose tank. Okay, so role attributes, they need cross-country speed, which is something you can kind of do with these tracks. This is road speed, they don't care about that, they care about cross-country, which is the other symbol. Here. That's the road speed, that's the cross-country speed. Right now we're getting 26. Operational range. Operational range wasn't that big of a problem, I think. We're getting 157, 164. Transportability has improved. Actually, it hasn't. So, we're going 161. Is that bad in man-hours? No, it's actually cheaper in man-hours. Then, the sprocket. This is cross-country speed doing a deficit. This is better. So we're getting a 178. We're getting a 183 or a 181. I'm going to get a 183. Cross-country speed 97? Yeah, right. Yeah, right. I find that rather unlikely. If it's possible, I'll sign up for that. I just kind of doubt that that's going to be what we're getting. Okay, save that. Go back to the design. Let's see how that's changed the tank. Mobility, 144 for 141. Transportability is only 31. And that comes from just the hull and the Erkling. Okay, so if I can change the hull somewhat, maybe we can make that work a little better. Let's change the hull. Get a new version of the hull. Yes, I want to change that design. Okay, roll. This is going to be that multi-purpose thing. And for that, they want that transportability. What is impacting transportability? It is coming from the hull. I'm not really sure there is a whole lot. Like, this is top thickness, structure. We got MIG welding, SMA welding, or early welding. You're looking at kinetic resistance. Do they care? No, they don't, because it's a multi-purpose mobile tank. They don't care about resistance as much. What sort of resistance do they want? What should I be looking for? Kinetic resistance 97. Okay, that's pretty high. Kinetic resistance 73. So boosting kinetic resistance would be great. It's just not something I can really do with either of these upgrades. Let's take with this welding type. This is going to help somewhat with the amount of people that you need on the tank. It is not going to do very well for your crew awareness. You got a 149 versus 160. And that frees up the driver. This frees up the commander. So you could have a commander gunner or commander loader. Or a driver gunner, driver loader. Doesn't matter. I'm going to go for the highest stats, 160. That transportability is something that I think is impacted somewhat by the type of headlight that you install. The diffuser headlight is going to make this better. But it's going to make crew performance slightly worse. That is unfortunate. Transportability is now better. Crew performance is taking a hit. That's the 3 Mark IV. Right now we're still negative. This is pretty decent. I'm not really sure if I can do much with the other stats. Because it doesn't change transportability. The more you add to this tank, I think the heavier it becomes and the worse the transportability is going to be. So that's not what I should be doing. It is transportable enough. Operational range isn't as good, but I can add fuel. Well, you'd think. I'll just have to fix that with the fuel, the diesel that goes into the tank. Then, crew comms internal, not as good, but we're saving a little bit. Crew awareness. Yeah, that's the 147. How can I get the highest stat? 160 I think is the highest that I've seen. Okay, I'll take the 160. Over here, we have the ventilated hatch. I can make that... Yeah, that's definitely not going in the right direction for mobility. 64. 64. We'll take the ventilated hatch. Over here we got the ventilated slots, which I don't think do very much for the options for transportability, but they might change operational range. Operational range is negative, negative, positive with those ventilation slots. Alternatively, I can get the angle ventilation, but seeing as it doesn't actually change the stat, yeah, we're going to stick to the low profile, I think. No, these. The ventilation slots. Then, additional ammo. Do we need any? We carry 49 shells. How many people, or how many shells do you want me to carry? If you even care. 45. So that's not a problem. We carry enough shells. I don't need additional ammo stowage. And the other ones I can't impact. As for armor, we have 80 armor front thickness. That's a very chunky boy. What do you need? Or rather, what would you like? 77. So that's done. Nice. I don't need to change these armor values. Save. Get to work on that. Back to design. So we're moving in the right direction. We're moving in the right direction. Transportability, still not very good. But can't really change these stats that much. Transportability is awful with that engine. If I give it this one... I'm just looking for the best stats here. Transportability is bad. This engine's too heavy, I think. I don't really want to use the German one, because it is very expensive in man-hour, so we're going to go back to the AEK. The Mark II, I think. Cross-country speed is only... yeah. I think I can keep it under 25 tons. Let's get the better Erklings. And then the turrets. Of course, you can go with the German turret if you want to. But I have lots of options these days. This is the German turret. This is what they normally have. Is that a turret that I want? What sort of stats can I expect from the turret? Front thickness 50. I think this one has a lot more at 75. So we're going to get more protection value, but they don't care. Not as much. They just want an accurate gun with high damage and good accuracy. And pen, of course. I'm going to give them the high accuracy gun that I have. That one. Which is pushing the accuracy in the right direction. Without a gunner, you can't really tell the full story. We got a 417 MG34. I'm not going to put one in the hull. No, 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 no. I want to keep it away. I'm going to throw an armored seal in its place. I just want to have the MG34 there. Selected crew. Driver. Commander. Driver was doubling as something. The driver only needs 1 point. Okay. Driver gunner. The gunner is actually superfluous? Really? Is the crew performance that good? Okay. So, the accuracy is now at 47. And we already got too many gunner points. Why is the accuracy that bad? I thought I threw the most accurate gun I have in there. Interesting. Not quite what I was hoping for. Because this is not quite going to push it to where I need it to go. And it is the highest gun, at least stat-wise, that I have available. If I go for the German gun, is that going to be more accurate? If I pick the German turret? Because we can then add the 582 gun, which has an accuracy of 60. So yeah, maybe the Germans were onto something in the end. It's just that the whole tank is too expensive. That's the problem that I see. The whole thing is too expensive. This machine gun is going to be the MG34. We already have the crew members that we need. Actually, too much. I don't think I can change it this much, really. I can't really give somebody 3 jobs, can I? I could have a commander loader. And then I can have 1 mechanic. Just a 3-man crew. That doesn't really do wonders for crew performance. But if you add more crew, it does go down. Damn, this is a tough tank to build. After some comparison, this is the original tank. At 28,000 man-hours, I was able to shave off about 10%. And also make it about 4k cheaper. I'm running a 3-man crew. And the stats... Like, this one has the mobility that they seek. It has much better crew performance, sorry, it has much better firepower, and crew performance is what they want. This one doesn't have the crew performance, but it has more firepower and it has more mobility. Thanks to using a different engine. I'm going to engineer these parts and see if this is good enough for them. If not, well, I guess we'll just have to see if we can make it a bit cheaper. And of course, we're already cheaping out by not using the secondary machine gun. Maybe we can get this thing built. Maybe we can get it engineered. And maybe we can turn it into something useful. With our new stopgap medium / multipurpose ready, I'm wondering how the Germans are going to feel about it. This is the tank that I have on offer. And they really like it. It's 950. I compare that to the T-34 and they really don't like that one. So this one lines up quite well. And with the additional bonuses that I gave it to firepower, hard, and, well, to some extent mobility, they quite like it. That, however, is in the, well, still flawed form. What I heard from the developers was that they were going to work on the proving grounds and make it less of a one-click button. So this thing still has some flaws and easily are, well, they're easily corrected by just hitting that button. This one is, there's just one flaw. Easy. Okay, so that's done. That means I might now have a slightly higher success score. Let's see, it was the multipurpose. Yeah, I think it was this one. I'm going to supply Sweden. I'm going to supply Sweden with these things. The Swedes like it for 960. And the Germans, what did the Germans think of it? I think similar. No, the Germans actually like it even more. Okay. So, we're gonna raise prices. And with the amount of man-hours required for that, it's even worse than a T-34. I don't think there's a whole lot I can do to shave off more of the man-hour time. So, we'll just have to tell them, yes, you can have it, eventually. And I can make 90 tanks, eventually. Let's say I'm going to go for a 350. If I don't get it, so be it. It's a $6 million contract, though. Really nice. I am, however, a bit overworked. I am working hard on completing a Tetrarch contract. I have 9 days to complete it. And I think... Yeah, I'm not done production. I'm not done producing them yet. So that's going to be a bit of a challenge. It's going to be a... Oh. 11 days. And you want it in 9. Okay, we'll be late for the Dutch. Sorry. I'm also building 99 additional T-34 V1s for the British. So at least that tank performs. What I'm curious to see is how well that new tank of mine drives. The Lynx. Keep in mind this is the slightly adjusted version. So it might not be the original design, but hey. We can probably get some fairly decent performance out of this. Mobility's okay. Turret rotation speed's nice. Climbs obstacles pretty good without losing a ton of speed. Agility is okay, but surprisingly not as good as the Churchill. Which, at least from memory, was not exactly an agile tank. And that's the Churchill with the double gun setup. Yeah, I think we can make this tank feasible. I'd like it to be a little faster, but that's just me. The clients, for now, seem happy with it. So, as long as they don't mind, I don't mind. How's gun depression? Good enough. Yep, good tank. Okay, we can definitely make some money with this thing. The one downside that I see is the man hours. It is 20% more than the T-34. And that might turn into a problem. Because it might not seem like that much, but if I can get a T-34 contract, or rather complete a contract with a T-34, I think I'd rather do that. Because this thing is just... It's very expensive for what it does. And yes, it might be a little bit more in line with the contracts that we at least for now have for the multipurpose tank. For other contracts, if I can get away with sending them T-34, I'll send them T-34. And I'm actually considering making the T-34 worse so that I can save some man hours. If I can push that down to 18,000 or 17,000 hours, so take 10% off, I can sell even more of them. And right now, I typically have, even when I'm maxing out the price, I still have too good of a score. So it's great to have that, I just over-engineered it, and it's too much. A little later, I have researched a new gun. No, this isn't it. But we do have it installed on a different version of the Lynx. So over here, this is the base gun. This is the WW2 7.5. Over here, I have something a little different. We have a 25-pounder gun. Why? Well, because we can. And I can definitely install this thing on some other turrets as well. So let's not stop here. I will assign this to the engineers. Let's not stop here. Can I assign it to a Tetrarch? Why? Because the game might let me. I might need to fit a slightly different turret on there. Otherwise, I won't be able to fit that. We have the large universal turret available right now. This is going to probably be a problem with the weight of the thing. Currently, I'm using a turret that weighs 1834. This is going to be slightly heavier at 2200. No, I would not like to create a new component. I just want to use that one. Yeah. Why not? Nope, we're just going to use this one. 589. Nothing says boom like a 25-pounder. And then we're going to add an MG34. Feasible? Yeah, I guess. Oh, the airborne tank is obsolete? Oh, come on. Just as I was about to have fun with this thing, they made it obsolete? But multiple countries have adapted to using that tank. What's your problem? Okay, this is going to be the howitzer. Howitzer. Boom. Regarding firepower, I'd say this thing has plenty of punch, but is it better or worse? I'd say that's in the eye of the beholder. If you're looking at price and man hours, it's more expensive. Attribute sum, it's worse. Fun factor, might be better. And also, it looks ridiculously out of place, this turret. This turret's supposed to go on the Churchill. It's not supposed to go on something like this. But why stop here? Maybe we can make a different version of the T-34, finally. There are still countries looking for the stopgap medium / the multipurpose. I don't know if this... Oh, maybe the polyvalent. There's still 4 countries who want that. I just don't really do business with any of them. So let's stick to the US, Canada, and the Ottomans. And let's change that turret, shall we? Can you... Can you actually use this? Yep. We're going to start merging T-34s with Churchill turrets. And that, I think, is the only turret that can actually fit that howitzer. 573. So, introducing the howitzer T-34. Because we can. Selected crew members. I'm not sure I have enough. Yeah, we're going to need a designated gunner and a designated loader. So this tank is going to get nice and cramped. Probably won't do a whole lot of work for my crews, let alone their effectiveness, but thankfully that's not a factor here. Firepower, we're actually too low. What is your oh, we don't have enough accuracy. Yeah, I can understand that. It's a howitzer, it's not a sniper rifle, so I guess that makes sense. We can improve to diesel fuels over here. We can go to synthetic oils. Maybe that's going to salvage the scores a little bit. I do, however, concern about the engine. That's going to be less than effective. Unfortunately, there aren't really that many engines that would do better. I could fit this behemoth in. That's the thing that the Germans are using. And all of a sudden I got a pretty decent power to weight ratio now. But it'll probably make the tank very expensive. At least in man hours. Oh, yeah. We're going from the T-34 version 1 at 20,000 to 24,000 and a price tag that increased by 6k. Yeah. That's a pretty hefty resource cost. Again, I don't really think these things are terribly feasible, but if you need something that can knock out a bunker with a reasonable degree of accuracy, this one might be it. Oh, I don't have a socket for everything. Fine. Go with diesel. Assign. Volume limit. Oh, yeah. Maybe it's too heavy. Maybe it's too big. Anyway, that's going to be the end of this episode. I'm probably not going to actually work on these things because I don't think they're going to be that useful. And trying to fix that howitzer is going to be a bit challenging. So, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. If you have any crazy suggestions, by all means, let me know down below. And I shall see you soon for the next part.